don't know.
Spoilers, the following video is mostly intended for humor. I nitpick, make jokes, and generally just have fun pointing out things that don't quite add up. That said, I may make a few actually valid points along the way. I'll leave it to you to decide which is which. Welcome to the channel, I'm Hayes. I talk movies all day, so subscribe right now if you want to be entertained. And today, I want to talk about Predator 2, the 1990 action sci-fi sequel to the greatest movie of all time. But before I do, I gotta address some things, because as it turns out, I made a few mistakes in the first Predator video, so it's only right I correct those mistakes. Now in that video, I said that had they just walked the 12 miles to the rendezvous like Dylan said, they could have been there in about 5 hours, which not exactly accurate, considering they'd be walking through uneven jungle terrain, plus with all the equipment it would be difficult to walk 12 miles with no breaks. It would probably take a lot longer than 5 hours. Now that said, I do still think more of them would have made it had they walked, but maybe not much more. The other thing I got wrong was the trap, where I said that had Predator walked into the trap, it didn't look like it would have done anything. Not true. There is a quick shot of the rope that would have pulled Predator into the spikes had he walked into the first trap. I just missed that shot. And speaking of missing a shot, when I said Dutch got shot in the arm and then got up like it was barely anything, turns out it's more like Dutch got shot on his rifle. Though, in my defense, I think mistaking his gun for his guns is understandable. So thanks to everyone who let me know where I screwed up. If I make any mistakes in this one, which I probably will, just let me know in the comments and I can address those mistakes in the next Predator video. But for now, how this works is I'm going to go through the movie and point out all the interesting things that I can find in Predator 2. So the movie starts off with a cool shot going from the forest to the city, kind of like a way of transitioning from the first movie to this one. But the more things change, the more they stay the same. It's still a jungle, urban jungle, but jungle nonetheless. It's still hot, there is still a conflict, still in a place with a Spanish name, and since that place is Los Angeles, we're still on the wrong side of the border. We're also told now it's 1997, which means 10 years prior, this cop was already too old for this shit, so I really don't fancy his chances now. And 20 years from this point, this lady is going to be running for her life after being accused of cheating on her college exams, having sexual relations with up to 3 men in 1 year, and collaborating with the butcher of Bakersfield. But anyway, in 1997, there was a pretty big street shootout in Los Angeles known as the Battle of North Hollywood. It was between 2 armed bank robbers and the LAPD that resulted in 12 injured police officers, 8 injured civilians, and the deaths of both robbers. So actually, this is a pretty accurate prediction of the future. Speaking of predicting the future, people risking their lives to make content? I mean, that's basically social media now. But this news reporter Tony Hope is played by real-life talk show host Morton Downey Jr. And despite having the exact same last name, no, he's not related to Iron Man. Now this guy who plays El Scorpio, his name is Henry Kingi. He's a longtime movie stuntman, but as an actor, he is one of only a few people who appear in more than one Predator movie. And of all the actors who have been in more than one Predator movie, none of them have played the same character in more than one movie. Sorta. I might need to come back to that one. Henry Kingi, however, is the only actor to have his face shown in more than one Predator movie. Sorta. I might need to come back to that one too. But for those wondering, as well as playing El Scorpio in Predator 2, he also played guy who gets blown up in truck in Predator 1. Rubbing cocaine on an open wound after snorting it seems wild, but cocaine was once used as a painkiller in the late 19th century, so maybe it's not that crazy after all. And it's not like this guy's gonna be alive much longer to have to worry about the toxicity, so yeah, this makes sense. The shotgun that Mike Harrigan uses in this scene is modeled after the Benelli M1 Super 90 entry shotgun. He fires around 6 or 7 shots in a space of about 7 seconds, which might seem typical for a shotgun, but for the Benelli M1 Super 90, that's actually slow. This thing can fire up to 5 shots in less than 1 second. In any case, all 4 of these guys have automatic rifles, and the fact that Harrigan fired more than 4 times means he definitely missed a few shots. So you're telling me not one of them could tag him? Also, there were 4 guys. Where did this guy come from? Because if he just showed up real quick, dropped to the floor and pretended to be dead, honestly, I ain't mad at it. So this is the first time Harrigan sees the City Hunter. Kinda. City Hunter is still close at this point, but he's seeing something. Anyway, as we know from the first movie, Yautja predators won't kill you if you are unarmed, but clearly Harrigan is armed and pointing his gun at City Hunter. Plus, City Hunter just saw Harrigan kill a man, not to mention he's been watching Harrigan for at least 5 minutes, so he knows Harrigan is a threat. Yet, City Hunter doesn't even attempt to kill him. Why? Now there's a few theories on this, mostly about the honor of the Yautja or City Hunter sizing him up. But I have my own theory. Dude was tired. Remember in the first movie, Jungle Hunter favored a slower kill rate and only sped it up when he had to? Now I know this is not the same Yautja predator, but City Hunter just killed a room full of armed men where only one of them escaped. It's not unthinkable City Hunter took a few licks. Maybe nothing major, but still a hit is a hit. So when he saw the one guy who escaped get taken out by somebody else, he was probably thinking, you know what, I'm good. By the way, Yautja is the name of the predator alien race. They're called that because they're always Yautja killing people. Harrigan said nobody gets in here until forensic arrives, and then the first thing Danny does is touch the blood. Are you dumb? Anyway, Danny walks through the door, follows the blood and looks up to see a dead body hanging from the ceiling. He then walks back out through the door and it's shown that that body can be seen from the room they were all in to begin with. So my question is, how come nobody noticed this before? I mean, I feel like a naked dead body hanging from a ceiling is the type of thing you'd catch in your peripheral vision. You know? Though, to be fair, I've never walked into a room with a bunch of bloodied dead gangsters and a naked dead body hanging from the ceiling, so what do I know, I guess. So this is a Eurocopter AS355F Accurial 2 helicopter. The number on the tail, N500NM, is its Federal Aviation Administration registration number. And although it is possible for an FAA number to be registered to different aircrafts at different times, best I can tell, N500NM has never been registered to a helicopter. Heinemann shouts at Harrigan to get back to his cage at Alvarado, referring to the Alvarado precinct. But there is no Alvarado precinct in Los Angeles. There is, however, an Alvarado Street in Los Angeles. Well, it's actually South Alvarado Street and North Alvarado Street, but it was associated with gang crime during the 80s. So in 1990, when this movie was released, that probably would have been a pretty accurate reference to make. But during the 90s, serious crimes like murder were actually starting to fall significantly. And then in 1997, when this film is set, is when the Rampart scandal happened. That involved over 70 LAPD officers being accused of police brutality, planting evidence and cover-ups, including possible involvement in the Biggie Smalls murder. So, an alien predator hunting down gangsters and cops in 1997 LA? Just saying, City Hunter might not be the bad guy here. But now I think is a good time to talk about the missing elephant in the room. Why is Dutch not in this movie? Well, that might depend on who you ask. Some say it was because of a $250,000 pay cut. Some say it was down to scheduling conflicts with Terminator 2. There's also reports that Schwarzenegger didn't like the script and might have even had an issue with the director Stephen Hopkins. In 2015, Arnie did a Reddit Q&A where he said, "So far, no Predator, no matter which one they did after the first one has come out, has been satisfactory to the audience. They sometimes want to do it really cheap and make as much money as possible, so they don't hire the right cast or the right director." So the real answer as to why he's not there? Maybe a little bit of all of them. And by the way, what Arnie said about audiences being disappointed is actually true. Before 2015, the only Predator movie with a good audience rating was the first one. In fact, it wasn't until 2022 when Prey got releases when that streak ended. Now, as for the canon reason why Dutch isn't there, in the Predator 2 novelization by Simon Hawke, it's said that although Dutch survived the explosion, he suffered radiation sickness and was taken to hospital. Whilst there, he was interviewed by Peter Keyes, but Dutch then eventually escapes the hospital and was never seen again. Well, not until 2008 when Predator South China Sea by Jeff Vandermeer was published. Dutch shows up there as Agent Onyx, mentoring Special Forces operative John Gustard in Predator hunting. But to be fair, Onyx is never actually identified as being Dutch in the book. Dutch then goes on to appear or get mentioned in various Predator media. At some point, he sets up a team to hunt down Yautja predators. There was a time he works with Alf to hunt down the Yautja, and as of now, his last appearance was Predator, Killer of Killers in cryosleep on the Yautja home planet. Well anyway, back to Predator 2.
Don't start with me, Mike. Oh, I just... Heinemann's already been up my ass so far, I won't be able to sit down for a week.
Arses were really busy during the 90s, right? I mean, we're not even 20 minutes into the movie and arses have been kicked, chatted with, shot at, kissed, put on the line, kissed again, and now a person and a penis has been up one. Bosses were really busy.
Cooperation is my middle name.
Unless Mike Harrigan's parents couldn't spell cooperation, that's not his middle name. A lot of places list him as Michael R. Harrigan, but there doesn't seem to be, or at least I couldn't find anywhere that says what the R stands for. It's possible it was a reference to Danny Glover's Lethal Weapon character, Roger Murtaugh, but it could also just as easily be a coincidence.
Like your last partner got shot?
This guy has the best role in the movie. Also, his name is Jerry Lambert, and as we now know, the Predator movies are connected to the Alien movies. So, could Jerry Lambert be an old relative of Joan Lambert? They have the same last name and even the same initials. Well, officially speaking, no. But Bill Paxton has been in both movie sequels, so maybe?
On the or what?
This film could not be made today. This is the first time we see uncloaked City Hunter in this movie, and just like El Scorpio, he's also played by an actor who was in the first film, Kevin Peter Hall, who plays the jungle hunter Yautja Predator and is the helicopter pilot at the end.
The next time you cross me, you're gonna turn up missing.
Actually, that's not possible. If he turns up, he's no longer missing. But to be honest, Keys is right. Harrigan has been told multiple times to stay out of it and he keeps getting involved. Why? It's not like his partner got killed and he has to avenge his death. Well, not yet anyway. Right now, dude's just tampering with evidence for no clear reason. And this is after the whole "there's no room for showboating, the team comes first" speech he gave to Lambert. Furthermore, if you're going to investigate a case your boss told you not to investigate, then hand in your badge and gun and go rogue, like a normal person. Crooked cop Danny Archuleta breaks into a crime scene and once again tampers with evidence. Dude, can you at least wear gloves? Come on, what kind of criminal cop are you? Also, really should have waited for Harrigan like he was told to. I mean, if you're gonna do something wrong, do it right.
Lieutenant Michael R. Harrigan. Obsessive compulsive personality.
Hold up, does Michael R. Harrigan have ADHD? Yeah, I know this was supposed to be a "he's a tough cop, but gets the job done" type thing, but if the shoe fits. Thing is, ADHD-like symptoms were first discovered in 1902 by Sir George Frederick Still, but it wasn't until 1987 that it was actually called ADHD. And even then, it wasn't until the 90s or even as late as 2008 when it was recognized in adults. So in 1997, if Harrigan did have ADHD, most likely, especially being a cop, would have never gotten checked. That said, in real life, Danny Glover got diagnosed with dyslexia when he was 30 years old. Big up man like Danny Glover, innit? Also, smoking was banned in California workplaces in 1995, so Heinemann is breaking the law right now. Speaking of smoking, I have a question. Can you still be offended by a stereotype if the stereotype is true? Actually, to be fair, there are possibly 8 countries with a higher estimated percentage of weed smokers than Jamaica, so maybe that stereotype isn't true anymore. While they were filming this scene, there would be people nearby just peeing on the walls. There may have even been local residents throwing bags of feces at the crew. And also, they found a dead body amongst all the garbage and rats there. Calvin Lockhart wore a wig to play a gangster that quotes a Bible verse right before attempting to kill someone. This is 1997, so technically, Predator 2 rips off Pulp Fiction. During the 90s, California operated a May issue system for concealed carry firearms, meaning that even if you met all the criteria, you could still be refused a permit. And as such, very few permits were issued, with an average of 63 per year in Los Angeles between 1994 and 1997. So I guess it was all those people who just happened to get permits also happened to just take the train that day. Also, speaking of Bill Paxton being in both Predator and Alien sequels, he is still the only actor to be killed on screen by a Predator, an Alien, and a Terminator. Though with Terminator, it wasn't the sequel. So now we know that the Yautja don't kill you if you are not a threat, or if you're pregnant, which of course is good to know. But a fetal heartbeat can be detected at around 6 weeks, and more reliably at around 7.5 weeks. At that point, the embryo is around 10 millimeters, so the fact that Leona isn't showing a baby bump that tracks. However, according to ChatGPT, that thermal scan that the predator took of Leona puts the baby at around 12 to 14 weeks pregnant, and it is still possible to not have much or any baby bump during that time. But Leona would either know or very much suspect she's pregnant due to all the pregnancy-related symptoms she would have been having. So why is Leona still going to work as a cop in a gang war-torn Los Angeles? Perhaps Leona is the one in 475 women that experience a cryptic pregnancy, meaning she had little to no pregnancy-related symptoms. And had Predator not sent her into deep shock, Leona could have gone on to be the one in 2,500 women that don't know they're pregnant until giving birth. So yeah, I'm pretty convinced now that City Hunter is not the bad guy in this movie. And speaking of things that might not be known, did you know that Maria Conchita Alonso is a singer with 12 studio albums? Her first album, Love Maniac, released in 1979, is the only one put out under the pseudonym Ambar, and was nominated for a Grammy for her 1992 album Imaginame. Who's screaming here? Because that scream sounds human, so it's not City Hunter. It's definitely not the guy who's been rendered incapable of making any noise, and I think we can safely assume it's not Harrigan either, so... yeah, Spider-Man did it better. That's the Eastern Columbia building. It was built in 1930 and took 9 months to construct. At the time, Los Angeles had a 150-foot height limit, but this was given an exception to add the clock, making it a total of 264 feet high. So remember how I said that no actors have played the same character in more than one Predator movie, and that Henry Kingi is the only actor to have his face shown in 2 Predator movies? Yeah, that's not exactly true. Sorta. Elpidia Carrillo, who played Anna in the first film, is shown on a monitor screen in this film for a few seconds. Her name is never mentioned, but she is listed as Anna in the end credits, which makes Elpidia Carrillo the only actor to be in 2 Predator movies as the same character. Sorta. Anyway, Peter Keyes talks about the first Predator movie and seemingly mentions some other places that a Yautja has shown up, but I wonder why he made no mention of the 1942 incident. I mean, he doesn't have to mention it, of course, I'm just saying. It involved the American military during World War II, so historically not really that long ago, so probably should have been mentioned. So I get why Garber didn't want to tell Keyes that City Hunter could see him because he didn't want to mess up the plan based on what some LA cop thinks. It's arrogant, I ain't saying it's justified, but I get it. What don't make sense though is why Garber never told Keyes that Harrigan escaped the truck and is likely heading towards him. Withholding information like that is what gets people killed. I mean, had they not got killed anyway.
You are one ugly mother.
Considering that City Hunter and Jungle Hunter have a very similar look, for all we know, they could be considered very handsome on Predator Planet. I ain't no scientist or whatever, but I reckon anything that weighs over 520 pounds is just gonna rip your arm clean off. The City Hunter Yautja Predator was played by 2 people, Kevin Peter Hall, who was the main guy in the suit, and this guy, R. David Smith, who played the one-armed Predator. Smith was actually born missing his left arm, and since the 90s has run a non-profit organization called Stunts Ability, which helps train people with disabilities for stunt work. Or at least I assume he's still running it. Best I can find is an interview from 2024 where he talks about the organization, but no website, no social media pages. Dude, if somebody wanted to donate to a good cause, you need to make these things easy. Harrigan seems to have a fear of heights, and although acrophobia isn't a specific trait of ADHD, people with ADHD are more likely to have anxiety disorders like acrophobia. So, just saying. So what was probably only supposed to be a cool little trivia shot ended up being the reason those AVP movies got made. Anyway, now we're in the final battle between Harrigan and the City Hunter. And I know I said earlier that I don't really fancy Harrigan's chances, but I just remembered. Predator can't even beat a disobedient teenager. So a pissed off, highly determined cop that possibly has ADHD? Yeah, City Hunter is easily outmatched, even if he had both arms.
Okay, who's next?
I don't care what no one says, this is a bad boy line. But as to who is Raffaele Andolini? Well, he was an Italian pirate that had a brief team up with a Yautja and gifted the Predator his gun right before dying in 1718, but that was retconned in 2022 with Prey, showing him to be a French translator that gave Naru his gun in 1719. Now if you're wondering, well, if Andolini gave the gun to Naru and Naru survived that movie and took the gun home with her, then how did the Captain Predator here in this movie get the gun to be able to give it to Harrigan? Yes, so is everybody else, bro. So is everybody else. I mean, it's not impossible, of course, because a lot of things can happen between 1719 and 1997. It's just there's literally no explanation right now as to how many times this gun has changed hands. Also, this is 1997, so technically, Predator 2 rips off God of War. The movie ends with Garber pissed off they didn't get the Predator and Harrigan remarking, he'll get another chance. And Garber does actually get another chance, though it doesn't exactly end well for him. But anyway, this is an Aerospatiale AS-350 helicopter, and in 1997, there was an AS-350 registered with N5806B. So actually, this is a pretty accurate prediction of the future. But that's what I think of Predator 2. What do you think of Predator 2? Let me know down below, and while you're there, be sure to like, subscribe, and drop a suggestion if you don't mind.